Hey, good evening, Oasis. Woo! What a joy it is for me to get to know you guys, to have a chance to connect with you. I've heard about this place, but I had to come to see. And I tell you what, I've been impressed with what God is doing here. And I am so thankful and so happy to connect with you tonight. Before I start, I want to say a special thank you to a few people that really made this possible for me to be here. Few people, Pastor Brendan, thank you for the opportunity to speak to the young people here. Thank you for your ministry, and thank you for saying my name well. Gilles, good job. I also want to thank Pastor Aaron. Pastor Aaron has been incredible, and his ministry brings a lot of fruit, and God is using him mightily. I just want to thank God for him. Pastor Ben, I've had the opportunity to sit down and have lunch with these guys, and we connected well, and I just want to thank God for the whole staff. You guys are blessed to have a staff like the one you have. You should give them a round of applause. They deserve it. You guys are really blessed. I visited a lot of churches. I meet people everywhere. And I tell you what, I don't see a lot of churches like this one doing what they are doing. And so I want to let you know that you are truly blessed to have leaders like those that you have around you that are leading you to Christ and helping you in your walk, in your decisions. I have a special thank you for Pastor Dave. He's not here tonight because he has a small group at his house, but I've known Pastor Dave since 2009. What a wonderful guy. The way that God has been using him in the lives of many people here. But in our own lives, Pastor Dave has been a great blessing to us, and just an outstanding servant leader. So I thank God for him. Finally, I want to thank Randy and Stacy. I'm sure they are here tonight. These are people who received me, and for the whole 10 days I was here, they've been awesome. I've had a great time with them. They fed me over what I should eat. I'm sure I'm bringing 20 pounds back home. And hey, I even had some of your birds here, right? Pheasants? Yeah. If I left here without having pheasant, I would not be happy, and they made sure that I had that. So thanks so much, Randy and Stacy, for all that you've done for me this week. I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up in Haiti and was born and grew up there. And we live now in Quebec City since 2019. I'm married to the most beautiful French Canadian. I hope you can see her picture. I don't know if this is working for the pictures. Not yet. Yeah, that's it. That's my family. And I have 4 beautiful girls. They all took from their mom, thankfully. And the latest addition to our family is Mr. Liam. You can go to the next picture. Yeah, that's Liam. Liam is 1 year old, and he's brought a lot of joy to our family. During the first 10 years of our ministry, we were in Haiti, and we had the privilege to do ministry with, to do leadership training for pastors, but a lot with young leaders. In Haiti, they don't have what you guys call youth pastors or college pastors. We don't have that in Haiti. It's just lay people helping. And I had the privilege to go in Haiti, and during the 10 years we were there, we did a lot of training for these young leaders. And I tell you what, God has blessed beyond measure what I had expected to happen in Haiti. Right now, we've had a missionary that came from that group that went to Burkina Faso. They've been there for the past 4 years, and now they are preparing to go to the DRC Congo. And so God has blessed us in ways that I can't tell you. And I am doing a lot of work among the French-speaking people, and I want to tell you a little bit more about that. But I just want to tell you that English is not my first language, and so I'm going to make some mistakes in what I speak, and so pardon my French, what I share with you tonight. If we go to the next slide, the one before that, even before, we have a few one where I want to read for you what the Bible tells us in Colossians 1:6. The Bible tells us that this same good news that came to you is going out all over the world. It's bearing fruit everywhere by changing lives just as it has changed your lives. From the day you first heard and understood the truth about God's wonderful grace. I want to tell you how I am thankful for the gospel, because truly it's what changes people's lives. It changed my life, and it continues to change people's lives. Today I want to give you a little bit of a snapshot of what we do as ministry, especially in the countries where French is the main language. So if we go to the next slide, before that, sorry, a few slides before that, again, we go up, again, here, sorry, this one, up, no, the one before, this one. Well, this is my friend Samuel. Samuel grew up as a Muslim, and his entire family is Muslim, was Muslim, and in 2015, somebody invited Samuel to go to a Christian church. And for the first time, Samuel heard the gospel and understood it. And that day, Samuel gave his life to Christ. And Samuel became on fire for God. And you may ask, how did I meet Samuel? Well, it was a Sunday morning last year, February 11 of last year. I had arrived to Chad the night before, and that morning, Sunday, already all 10 people who were on our first church plant in Chad were already waiting for Dambej, the national superintendent of the Congo, and myself to tell them more about our church, about what we believe in. And added to these 10 people were 4 missionaries, independent indigenous missionaries. That means that people from the country, but they were missionaries. And they came just to hear about us, what we believe in, to decide whether or not they wanted to join our church. And Samuel was one of these 4 guys. Now, if I had seen Samuel before or outside of the church, I would really think that he's a Muslim. The way he was dressed, he looked just like a Muslim. Well, he grew up as a Muslim. What I didn't know is that Samuel was a committed Christian who is preaching the gospel everywhere he goes. And since then, I talk to these guys, I talk to them and share about what we believe in, and thankfully on that day, all 4 guys decided to join our church. And since then, we've been receiving emails from Samuel every 1 or 2 weeks telling us about what he's doing. He goes to villages to share the gospel, and many Muslims come to Christ because of him. Now, while I was in Chad, I was listening to these guys talking about what they do, and they were telling about how they go and share the gospel with Muslims, and one of the tools that they use a lot is what they call the Jesus film. It's a kit that you can bring on a bag, you can go anywhere with it, and you show the movie Jesus film, and usually at night. And these guys, to get this, they had to go to the next village, get a motorcycle to go to the next village, and they had to rent this kit and bring it with somebody who knows how to use it so that they can show the movie. So it's cost them a lot of money and a lot of work to be able to share the movie. So these guys are telling me about how difficult, and if there was anything that could help them, it would be a Jesus kit. And what they didn't know is that before I went there, God had put on my heart to bring a bag of Jesus kit with me. And so they are sharing about that, and I'm sitting and I'm smiling, realizing what God was doing. And when they are done, I said, listen, I have good news for you. I have a movie right here. And these guys started to jump, really happy about how God had prepared this for them. Well, about a month later, I received an email from Samuel. It was Easter weekend, and during the whole weekend, Samuel took the kit and showed the movie at this in one of the villages where he went. And during the time that he showed the movie, about 3,700 people, most of them Muslim, watched the movie. And 800 of them received Christ during that weekend. I tell you what, I couldn't believe it. I asked him, are you sure? Like, can you show me pictures? It was incredible. God is awesome, and really, God is working among us. Often, he would go to villages and share the gospel. After that, he would have a service, a baptism service. I don't know if you can go to the next one. Before he would leave the village, he would have a baptism service. And all the people who received Christ, who want to be baptized, would receive baptism during that same week. So many, many people, every week when he goes to villages, would receive Christ. I don't know if you knew that, but research shows that 4 in 10 people in the world today don't have access to the gospel. That means that there are entire villages, places where people have never heard the gospel. Not because they don't want to, but because they don't have a neighbor, they don't have a Bible nearby, they don't have the chance to hear the gospel. And these people are not just out there. There are some of these people who are really closer to you than you think. I live in Quebec City, where a lot of the indigenous people never heard the gospel because they don't have people that can go and share the gospel with them. In Quebec City, where I live, there are about 800,000 people just in the city, but in the province, it's the whole province where the French people, there's less than 1% of them that claim to be Christian. Right here next door to you in Canada. But God is doing great things, I want to tell you. When we left Haiti in 2019, we fled Haiti because there were so many problems, and God showed us that we needed to go to Quebec City. We really didn't want to go to Quebec. One of the reasons is because my wife grew up there and knew how crazy things were there. And I had been many times, and truly we did not want to go to Quebec. But God put on our heart to go there, and so we did. We were obedient. When we moved to Quebec City, I had no idea what I was going to do there. I'm not a church planter. I didn't see me planting a church. And I tried to talk to people. They're not open. They're not open to religion, nothing like that. Amazingly, in 2020, there's a pastor who moved from Montreal to Quebec City. And he moved to start a church. The same week he moved to Quebec City is the same week that they announced that we have the COVID. And so everything was closed, everybody was home, and the church, we had to start it on Zoom. And so we started meeting on Zoom. I was part of the first people that joined him, and the church started on Zoom. The first time we met together after the first year on Zoom, we had about 80 people, Today, 3.5 years later, we have over 1,500 people that are meeting together in a campus in Quebec City. Now, I'll tell you what, this is unheard of. I mean, this is the biggest church that we have in Quebec City. There are churches that's been there for long. You guys, I know that you are over 1,500, but for Quebec, this is just a miracle. And God had prepared people from different places, including us, to come and join in this. I want to tell you that God is working in different places. And when the Bible tells us that the gospel is bringing transformation in people, I just want you to know that it's truly happening. My job in Global Partners is to work with the French-speaking countries. And it's been a great joy for me to do that. I want to tell you a little bit more about Africa. When we started with Global Partners with Africa, they gave us, we started with 5 countries where they spoke French. And today we are in over 11 countries. This coming May, I'm supposed to go and visit Benin and Ivory Coast. These are new countries that have joined us where we're going to start ministries. Among the 100+ missionaries that we have at Global Partners, we are the only ones working with French-speaking countries. And yet, God is doing amazing things there. Really not because of us, but because God himself is working among the people. In 2019, the first country I visited when we became the area director for French-speaking countries was the DRC Congo. I met Adonai here tonight, who's from Congo, and I went to the city where he was born. What a wonderful country. Amazing. Well, when I arrived there, we met the superintendent. Actually, he had just become the superintendent, and we invited him to go to training with us. And during that time, we connected and I shared with him. And this guy is just amazing. During the 4 years that we worked together, the first 4 years, the church in the Congo doubled in numbers. It went from 44 to 92 churches. And the number of people also doubled. It went from 5,500 people to over 11,000 people. Amazing thing God is doing there. But I want to tell you that that doesn't mean that there's not a lot of need for workers. This year I was supposed to go to visit in Inongo. If we can go this, thank you. These are the Pygmy people that are in a place called Inongo in the DRC Congo. And these people are living, a lot of them, in the jungle. These are people who, they don't get into the society. They want to live in the jungle. And many of them, they really are like primitive. They don't have dresses. They don't wear clothes. It's hot, and they don't care for that. A lot of the kids, they don't go to school. There's no such thing around them. And with God's grace, we were able to send a missionary there. No one really go to these people to help because they have a lot of beliefs that are different than the people around them. And so we have one of our missionaries, African missionaries, that we sent there that has been helping with these people and starting ministry over in that place. God is using the people, the native people, to reach out to the native people. And that's what we do. We work with nationals, mostly to go and reach nationals. However, we are looking for people that are feeling called to ministry, to missions. The Bible tells us that God is wanting to reach people, but people need to be able to go and reach them. God wants to work with us to reach people. In Romans 10, the Bible says, everyone who calls on the name of the Lord will be saved. And the next verse it says, how then can they call on the name of the one whom they have not believed in? And how can they believe in the one of whom they have not heard? A lot of the people would want to believe, but they've never heard it. They don't have anyone that goes and tell them about it. And how can they hear without someone preaching to them? I was 22 years old when I became a Christian. I'm a pastor's kid. My father is a West End pastor. And growing up in Haiti, I had heard all of the stories of the Bible. I knew them. But it wasn't until a Sunday afternoon like this one. I remember I was in the backyard of my house. During that time, and I was 22 years old, I was a dance teacher. Man, I tell you what, it was a lot of fun. And I still have fun with that. And Sunday afternoon was the day that I would go and practice, have my students practice the moves that I showed them during the week. And every Sunday afternoon, we had a group of young men, women who were meeting at my house, talking about God and about Christ. I was not interested. And one of the reasons why I was not interested is because growing up, I always thought that being a Christian meant to do all the do's and don'ts of the Bible. Anybody have gone there, have had that? That's how I grew up. I thought that to be a Christian, I had to be perfect. I had to do it all right. And man, did I try. I tried many times and it didn't work. And finally, I gave up on the idea. I said, maybe when I'm 80 years old, I hope there's nobody 80 years old here. But I thought, when I'm 80 years old, maybe I'll be able to do this. For now, it's impossible. But that Sunday afternoon, these guys invited me to come and just spend a little time with them. I had said no to them so many times. That day, I felt so bad. I said, okay, I'll give you 5 minutes. And I went and I sat down, and they started talking about what Christ was doing in their lives. And finally, I said, listen, I have to go. But I have a question for you. How can you say you are a Christian when I know you're not perfect? How does that work? And one of them shared with me of how Christ did not come for those who were perfect. Actually, he came because we cannot be perfect except in him. And he said, you look at the disciples that were following Christ, man, these guys were crazy guys. They were guys who were, fishing. I don't know if you've ever gone to places where guys are fishing. Well, and he said, but those guys, Jesus didn't say, okay, if you change, you follow me. No. Christ went and said, follow me. And as they followed him, they started to be transformed. And this guy said, it's not when you change your life that you follow Christ. It's when you follow him that he transforms your life. And that night, I received Christ in my life, and I tell you what, everything changed in my life. I had vowed in my heart that I would never be a pastor because watching my dad, how busy he was, I didn't want to be a pastor. But today I'm a missionary. You know why? Because I have seen the transformation that God does in my life and the lives of those who can hear and respond. I want to tell you that God has that opportunity for each one of you. Not only that you can receive and be transformed by him, but you can participate in helping, in bringing transformation to lives of people everywhere. Especially you in North America, you have that in the tip of your fingers because God has blessed you with so much training, so much education, so much of wealth around you. God is recruiting people who want to join him in reaching the world. And he's fishing for you today. I want to finish by telling you that in Global Partners, we have so many different programs for people who want to even just try. We have a program called Next that you can go and spend a couple of weeks, or you can go spend a couple of months, even 6 months internship with missionaries in different places. We have long-term program where you can go and try, or short-term mission trip. I know that this week some of you were in a mission trip that was awesome. I heard great things that happened. I'm so glad that your church is involved in those things and giving you the opportunities to connect. I want to tell you what. In Haiti, while we were there, we received hundreds of young people. And almost every time, they come back and say, I thought I was coming to make a difference in the lives of people. And I realized that I am the one who got changed. I want to tell you that when you go and try mission trips, you are the one who God is going to change. You think that you're going to help others, and you're going to realize how God is using others to change you. So I want to invite you tonight to join in what God is doing in different countries, especially in French. We would love that. But I tell you what, there's ministry opportunities all over the world. And maybe God is saying you should be one who would be the next Samuel. Maybe you'll be the one who will be working with people in Muslim countries, or maybe in people living in jungle, or maybe in cities. But God is looking for people like you.